Hi, this is Chris Orlob, and in this video, you're going to learn 8 SaaS sales tips that I use to grow my income from $36,000 a year when I started in SaaS sales all the way to $1.6 million in annual income. In case you don't know who I am, my name is Chris Orlob, and I'm obsessed and on a mission to make salespeople, specifically SaaS salespeople, far more successful than they could be on their own. Here are a few highlights about me. I'm best known for growing a company called Gong from $200,000 in annual revenue to over $200 million by the time I left, achieving a $7.2 billion company valuation. Along the way, I built and led the #1 attaining sales segment, achieving 141% of our annual quota. I led that team through the 2020 economic meltdown, very similar to what we're seeing today, from 9% attainment all the way back up to 140%. I trained the entire sales organization on some of the techniques you're going to learn in this video and broke a record for the number of President's Club auto qualifiers. And like I mentioned, I'm on a mission to share everything I know to make you wildly successful in your SaaS sales or SaaS sales leadership career. So here are the 8 tips. My first year in SaaS sales, I made $36,000. By the time I left Gong recently, I made $1.6 million in my most recent full calendar year. So here are the tips that I wish I knew when I started that journey. The first one is that money follows pain. Okay, that's worth writing down on a sticky note. Money follows pain. Most of us, when we get into sales, we're taught that you should focus and highlight benefits and that money follows benefits. But that pales in comparison to the #1 reason people buy, which is to relieve major pain. Okay, big money comes from relieving pain, not just selling positive benefits. Ideally, you do both, but if you can only choose one, pain relief is far more powerful. Until you grasp that fact and that people aren't buying your product and its cool whiz-bang features and the benefits that come along with it, you're going to struggle and you're going to be frustrated when it comes to the income you're earning. Tip number 2 out of 8. Who is more important than what? Okay, your job is to get in front of the right buyers at the right accounts, and you will win even if you have weak technique. Okay, if you can get in front of people who already have a high propensity to buy what you offer, that's the most powerful thing you can do for sales effectiveness. Okay, so take it from me. This is the guy who sells the what, the sales techniques. My online courses are the what, and those are important. Don't get me wrong. I'm not encouraging you to be sloppy. But what's even more powerful is simply getting face-to-face or gallery to gallery, if we're talking over Zoom, with the right buyers within the right accounts. Okay, so get really intentional with who you're targeting when it comes to prospecting and how you're prioritizing your time and who you're prioritizing your time with. Tip number 3, stubborn persistence is stupid. Strategic persistence rules. Okay, persistence can be either a virtue or a vice, depending on how you deploy it. The success of persistence is limited when it's quote unquote used on a single person. It can only go so far. Some people's minds simply cannot be changed. Now, when you persist in the right areas with the right buyers or the right set of buyers or the right markets, persistence can pay off big time. Okay, so time management in sales is huge. It's a huge indicator of your success. Stop persisting with people who are low propensity to buy and persist heavily, strategically, tactically, tactfully with the right types of buyers, the buyers who do have a shot. Okay, so strategic persistence, not stubborn persistence. Tip number 4, solve exactly. Okay, solve exactly. Don't solve for elements of your buyer's pain that they haven't expressed. If you know your buyer's problem, that's a great start. Good. Go solve that with your demo or your presentation exactly on a one-to-one basis. No more and no less. Okay. Eliminate the phrases, we can also do X, we can also do Y, we can also do Z. If X, Y, and Z don't solve their problem, just leave that out. Solve exactly on a one-to-one basis, no more, no less. Otherwise, you're going to confuse your buyer, you're going to confuse decision-making, and you're going to create objections with your buyer saying, I'm not going to use that part of your product, so I have to pay for it. Okay, tip number 5, like it or not, selling involves status games. Okay, your goal is to be on equal footing in business stature and social status with your buyers. If you grovel over buyers, if you put them on a pedestal, you'll lose. Okay, you can't persuade somebody from that type of social standing. So put yourself on equal footing. You do this subtly through your mannerisms, you do it through your voice tone, you do it through the language you use and don't use. Stay on the same level as your buyer, don't grovel, and don't suppose that they have more power than you because they're an executive and you're a sales professional. Okay, this is a social thing, not a title thing. It's how you carry yourself. Tip number 6, people remember stories and forget stats. It's not that stats don't matter, they don't work. They are used and you can use them well in certain circumstances. But if you want your buyer to think about you days, weeks, months after your sales interaction, tell a story. If you can tell them one that looks familiar, that they can see themselves in, that they can feel pain in, it will circulate through their head and it will influence their behavior. And as you influence their behavior, they're more likely to buy from you. Tip number 7, negotiations are won or lost early. Okay, if you didn't set the foundations of a negotiation early in your sales cycle, you've already lost. Okay, great negotiations start with great selling. Weeks and months later, great negotiations start with great selling. So slow down today in your sales process so you can speed up later. And here's what that looks like. Spend the time to find and quantify pain. Spend the time to multi-thread. Influence the buying criteria in your favor. Get connected with the right people. If you skip those steps, you'll get ground down on price. Slow down now so you can speed up later. Great negotiation starts with great selling early on. And tip number 8, value comes from contrast. Okay, remember when I said at the beginning of this video that people buy to relieve pain? Well, here's how to skyrocket that impact and put it on steroids. If you combine these two together to create contrast, big pain that exists in the status quo and compelling benefits that exist in the future, and you put both of those together, you'll sell like crazy. Okay, so put this on a sticky note. Value comes from contrast, and that's a contrast between the pain of the status quo and a desired future state. If you can paint a compelling picture for both of those, you will double your close rates. So that's all I have for now. I'm going to take you through a couple of things. If you liked what you learned in this video, you're going to love what I have next for you. So introducing SaaS Discovery Masterclass. This is the most popular online course on the planet currently when it comes to SaaS sales. So great SaaS reps are learning to close more deals. They're learning to create urgency from thin air, find business pain that money follows, and sell their way through a tough economy. There are a few key things inside this online course. Number 1 is how to find, build, and diagnose business pain that money follows, even in a tight economy. Number 2, how to create repeatable urgency on every deal through negative impact questions. Number 3, how to rig buying criteria in your favor to box out cheap competitors. And number 4, how to build a customer vision, a buying vision that includes purchasing your product and getting customers to run through walls to do that. And finally, throughout the course, you'll get over 20 exact words and questions you can start using to close more SaaS deals today. These are the exact techniques that I learned, honed, and mastered through trial and error to get me exactly to where I mentioned I landed in the last year that I was at Gong. Now, it's not just me feeling or experiencing success from these techniques. Over 3,000 SaaS sellers are achieving great success in selling their way through this economy using the techniques that they've learned in SaaS Discovery Masterclass. A great example is JC Johnson over at LinkedIn. She finished her most recent quarter at 152% as a result of some of the techniques that she learned. So here's the investment for the course. What it's not going to cost you is the $75,000 it would cost for a live delivery in person of the course. It's not going to cost the $30,000 it would cost for a virtual delivery over Zoom. You can get started today with SaaS Discovery Masterclass for as low as $197 when you go to go.pclub.io/discovery. So go there now. Here's exactly what to do next. Number one, in your favorite browser, go to go.pclub.io/discovery. I'm going to pin the link in the comment section on YouTube. So head over to go.pclub.io/discovery. Click the button that says click more SaaS deals or SaaS deals. That's going to take you to the checkout page where you'll enter your information, you'll purchase it. It's not $697, it's only $197 when you go to go.pclub.io/discovery. And as soon as you complete your purchase, you'll create login information, you'll immediately be taken to your course library, and you can start watching the course within just a couple minutes from now. All of the tips, techniques, strategies, and insights are just a couple minutes away. So go there now, go to go.pclub.io/discovery. You'll have instant access to the techniques that created a $7.2 billion company. Go there now. I hope this video was useful. I hope that the 8 tips you learned for free were useful, and I hope to see you inside the course.